You know what I find interesting? Short-lived states. There are well-known examples of short-lived states like the Confederate States of America, and lesser-known examples like the West Ukrainian People's Republic, and unknown examples. And one of these unknown examples I'm going to talk about today. Because in this video I'm going to talk about the Galician Soviet Socialist Republic. What? The Galician Soviet Socialist Republic, and from now on I'm going to refer to it as the Galician SSR, just out of convenience, was established during the Polish-Soviet War. And to get a full picture, let's talk about some background first. Okay, when the First World War ended, Poland was granted independence by the Treaty of Versailles, which determined its western borders. However, the eastern borders of the new Poland were not determined, and this was a total mess, because in Central and Eastern Europe, civil wars and wars of independence interrupted as soon as the First World War ended. Well, actually the turmoil already started before the First World War ended, because in October 1917 the Bolsheviks seized power in Russia. And they signed the Brest-Litovsk peace treaty with Germany, leaving the Baltics and Ukraine under German sphere of influence. But when the First World War was over in November 1918, the Germans had to retreat from these areas, and a power vacuum occurred. In what is now Ukraine, 3 states were proclaimed from east to west. In the east we had the Ukrainian SSR, which was basically a client state of Soviet Russia. Then further to the west we had the Ukrainian Nationalist Republic, the UNR, with the capital of Kyiv. And in the west there was the West Ukrainian People's Republic with the capital of Lviv. Okay, back to Bolshevik Russia. Now, when the Bolsheviks seized power in Russia, October 1917, they soon found themselves under siege by enemies from all sides. This conflict, known as the Russian Civil War, and can impossibly be described as basically one conflict. No, in fact, there are many separate conflicts with many parties involved. One of the conflicts within the Russian Civil War can also be viewed as a separate war, and I'm talking about the Polish-Soviet War. The Poles, they had already defeated the West Ukrainians in 1919, but now found themselves under threat by Bolshevik Russia. See, the Bolsheviks basically wanted to reclaim all the territories that once belonged to Tsarist Russia, and even export the revolution to Western Europe, some historians argue. And by doing that, they had to subdue Poland first. In July 1920, the Bolsheviks launched a successful offensive, and the Poles and also the Ukrainians, who had to join forces by now, were forced to retreat. Now, the Bolsheviks, they wanted to create a Polish SSR, and they already did so at the city of Białystok. For that, they set up the Polrevcom. Now, in the north, they established a puppet government with the capital of Białystok. Further south, they established the Galician SSR with the capital of Ternopil, back then referred to as Tarnopol, which was controlled by the Ukrainian Communist Party located in Kyiv. A revolutionary committee took charge as a provisional government led by Vladimir Satonski. The national languages of the Galician SSR were Polish, Ukrainian, and Yiddish. Private ownership was abolished. Church and state were separated. The estates of the church were nationalized. An 8-hour workday was introduced, and a labor school offering 7 years of education was established. Elections to create a permanent Soviet government were to be held. The Galician SSR was short-lived because in September 1920 the Poles launched a successful counter-offensive and they overran Galicia, and thus the Galician SSR was dissolved. When in March 1921 the Poles and the Soviets signed a peace treaty, the Peace of Riga, the Ternopil region officially became part of the Second Polish Republic, and therefore plans for a communist Galicia were off the table. Its former chairman, Satonski, would later meet his end during the Stalinist purges in 1937. The Ternopil region would become communist again. If you want to know how that happened, you check out the video I made about the territorial changes of Ukraine during the 20th century right here any second now. Thanks to my patrons, and a special thanks to the President Henry Clarkson and Colin Castleman. be like them, because with your support I can keep doing this and expand. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you later.